First on BBC One, Prince Andrew becomes part of Jimmy Savile's dream team.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're looking at 20 celebs the British public can't stand. We won't be including politicians in this one.
Gemma's your ex?
Definitely.
Which is hardly surprising because you slept with her sister.
I don't know, Jeremy.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Number 20. Wyn Evans.
Go compare, go compare. Go be sure when you insure first, go compare.
Paired up with Katya Jones, it didn't take long for rumours of a rift between the duo to emerge, as during a live recording, Evans seemed to touch Katya's waist inappropriately and she pushed his hand away. They denied this, but weeks later, and he was booted from the Strictly Live tour after making a very inappropriate joke to Jeanette Manwara.
Money, 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 always sunny in a rich man's world.
There have been additional complaints about his behaviour, but there are now stories that Evans wants to sue for loss of earnings.
Go compare. When in doubt, check them out. Go compare.
Number 19. Gillian McKeith.
Superstar nutritionist Gillian McKeith is on a mission to help this woman get her groove back.
If you didn't hate her before I'm a Celeb, you certainly did after, when she faked a fainting fit to get out of being voted to do another trial.
We'll explain exactly what's going on, okay? Let's get Bob in. Bob.
Okay, bring the oxygen in, please.
But McKeith's brand of wellness has aged very poorly indeed, as she touts all kinds of bizarre health initiatives to the people she's meant to be helping lose weight.
I am the best thing to happen to Erica since sliced bread, sliced whole grain bread.
Despite having no reputable nutritional qualifications, McKeith has fronted TV shows where she examines people's poos and then advises them that if they're not vegetarian or vegan, they've already got one foot in the grave.
Erica's already eaten her way to type 2 diabetes. Before things get even more dire, I have to get her back to my clinic to find out what other damage her bad diet has done to her body.
She was ordered by the ASA to stop branding herself as Dr. Gillian McKeith in 2007 and now spends her time complaining about vaccines online. Number 18. Noel Edmonds. How can you have anything but contempt for the man who gave us Mr. Blobby? While Edmonds is a television mainstay, and was, for a while, the most expensive contestant ITV had ever convinced to enter the jungle, he's not very popular.
Now, which school would you like to be able to take Mr. Blobby to?
Well, I'd like him to go to Can Hall Road.
Yeah?
Primary school. That's where my 4 grandchildren go.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
He was voted off first, which speaks volumes, but has earned ire for other reasons too. Notoriously, he was once feuding publicly with Philip Schofield over some claims he made about cancer.
And all I did was ask of the person you're referring to a question. I've never said negative thinking causes cancer.
He touted a £2,000 device that could supposedly cure depression, stress, and help with cancer, saying that it was a scientific fact that diseases are caused by a negative attitude. This was followed up with a fiery interview on This Morning where he tried to defend his position.
I believe doctors and scientists who say that disruption of our immune system by negative energy makes you prone to diseases of which cancer is one.
Number 17. Lawrence Fox.
Well, can we have the cottage back and your HRHs?
For a few years, this washed-up actor enjoyed popularity as a voice of the far right. Clearly, that perceived popularity didn't translate to votes in the ballot box if his disastrous mayoral campaigns are anything to go by. In 2021 and 2024, he tried to run for Mayor of London, losing his election deposit the first time after getting less than 2% of the votes, and in 2024 didn't do the forms right.
Let's be really clear about what this is. Let's call it by its name. It's racism. She's a black woman and she has been...
It's not racism.
That same year, he also ran for the London Assembly and only got 0.5%, losing $5,000. The right-wing populist vote is now thoroughly controlled by Nigel Farage again, and Fox's political career is just as forgotten as his acting one. He was never a very good actor anyway.
The Union Jack will fly outside every single school and institution in London.
Number 16, David Walliams.
Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, 4 judges, including one very handsome one, let's call him David, set off on an epic journey around the country.
Though he's still known for classic sitcoms like Little Britain and Come Fly With Me, Walliams' public persona has earned him plenty of criticism. He's not the only obnoxious Britain's Got Talent judge. Simon Cowell is there too, remember, but he is one of the few to have been sacked due to a scandal.
Peter! They rounded up all the passengers on deck and singled out Peter and I and took us hostage, which meant we missed the buffet.
He was recorded saying offensive remarks about a contestant, and after the recording was leaked, was dropped by ITV, though he's now trying to sue for losing his ability to be funny.
Dudley Swimming Baths early bird pass.
Sorry.
Yeah, but what if I get to Spain and get them to call Dudley Swimming Baths and get the lady there to vouch for me and she can say, yeah, it's Neil?
I'm sorry, sir, but you do need your passport.
Years previously, and he was in conflict for his Hide the Sausage sketch during Little Britain Live, in which he was accused of involving teenagers in a gag where he's pretending to be a nonce.
Right, let me come amongst you now, try and find my lucky voice.
Number 15, Piers Morgan.
But now Piers has decided to leave the programme. Some of you may cheer and others will boo.
Just as many people love Piers Morgan as hate him, but which side do you fall on? While he made a reputation asking the difficult questions other pundits avoid, like during the pandemic, he's also got a reputation for being obsessed with the Duchess of Sussex.
It doesn't stop, does it? Just interview after series after, but it's just never ending.
We're not sure that even Prince Harry thinks about her as much as Piers Morgan, who ended up spectacularly leaving Good Morning Britain because he got called out for his infatuation.
OK, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no. Sorry.
Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can track him, mate, but not my
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do this.
This is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
He was also embroiled in many scandals during his years at the papers, running hoax pictures of alleged British war crimes and trying to smear Hugh Grant, who hates him to this day.
This is a 2-hour trash-a-thon of our royal family, of the monarchy, of everything the Queen has worked so hard for.
Number 14, Katie Price.
That's another thing. I've done a lot of reflecting. I think it's best that I'm on my own. I just don't want to be in a relationship.
The glamour model, formerly known as Jordan, seemingly can't do anything right. She's been a popular punching bag for the tabloids for over 20 years and keeps doing the things that make her the subjects of articles and wild speculation, like getting endless plastic surgeries.
And you don't have Botox or nothing. I don't mean to say you do, but you look so good on it.
Can you, Katie?
From the high drama of meeting, marrying and divorcing Peter Andre on I'm a Celeb, to her second stint down under, where she dumped MMA fighter Alex Reed live. She just can't do anything right.
I hope we can remain friends as of I came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no more.
So you and Alex are split now?
I'm not with him, no.
And after appearing as a regular on Loose Women for a few years, she spectacularly denounced her co-stars after leaving when they interviewed Peter Andre and didn't mention her once. Number 13, Chris Evans.
He's criticised his boss on air, said most of his listeners are thick, made a tasteless joke about Holocaust victim Anne Frank, and only recently refused to do the Radio 1 roadshow.
Like Lawrence Fox, Chris Evans also has the rare distinction in British media of being divorced by Billie Piper. Their marriage raised plenty of questions at the time, with the two marrying when he was 35 and she was 18.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Nice rooftop.
They split after a few years, unsurprisingly, but he hasn't gotten more popular. In 2016, he was chosen as the new face of Top Gear after the unceremonious exits of Clarkson, Hammond and May in a disastrous move.
I'm very happy. I'm in my happy place.
You're in your happy place?
Nobody liked Top Gear under Evans, including co-host Matt LeBlanc, who reportedly gave the BBC an ultimatum that if Evans didn't leave, he would. Evans got the chop.
The first series fronted by Chris Evans, and now we learn the only one he'll appear in.
Number 12, Jamie Oliver.
Trust me with your kids' health, not them. No, I've always had detractors.
Rest in peace, Turkey Twizzlers. If you're a Brit of a certain age, you'll remember vividly the days of school dinners before Jamie Oliver came along and had them made healthy and therefore unpleasant.
I would like an apology off you for calling me a big fat scrubber on Top Gear.
Did I call you that?
Yes, sure did.
He's done far more than that, though, and remains a widely disliked celebrity chef. He's come under fire for his crusade against chicken nuggets and for other, more serious things, including writing an offensive portrayal of Indigenous Australians in a children's book.
Now, who would still eat this? Great. So there you go. The whole experiment failed.
He also fathered the expensive Jamie Oliver deli by Shell and was widely criticised for teaming up with the oil company. And finally, there was the bankruptcy of his restaurant chain.
I mean, sometimes you can be a bit pompous. You really can.
Number 11, Jeremy Clarkson.
However, there was a problem. Someone on an Argentinian website noticed that the car I was driving sported the number plate H982 FKL.
Like Piers Morgan, Clarkson's got a lot of fans. They both make controversial public statements about various things, but care deeply about other issues closer to home.
An internal BBC inquiry found Mr. Timon was subjected to an unprovoked physical and verbal attack.
But still, massive numbers of Brits don't like Clarkson whatsoever and think the BBC was right not to renew his contract after the 2015 producer punching incident.
The presenter called him lazy and Irish and then used an expletive.
Also like Piers, he's become embroiled in controversies around Meghan Markle, getting thousands of regular complaints after writing in The Sun that people should throw fecal matter at her. Perhaps he was getting her confused with Gillian McKeith. Whatever the case, he eventually apologised and had the article taken down.
All I would like to say is I wish people would leave Osh alone, because none of this is his fault.
Number 10, Greg Wallace.
And they just said, tell me about food, which I did. And they said, right, we're going to be remaking MasterChef. They said, we've got a chef, we want someone else.
MasterChef's cheeky chappie is cheeky no more, having gotten into huge trouble in 2024 after various complaints about him emerged. Dozens of women, some of them extremely famous, said that he'd acted inappropriately on set, making constant comments about his sex life.
In the newspaper, I can see the complaints coming from a handful of middle-class women of a certain age just from Celebrity MasterChef.
His former ghostwriter also spoke publicly and said that he exposed himself to her and then, later, asked whether she'd be willing to eat eaten mess off of his you-know-what. He'd already been dropped from inside the factory over other complaints, but was released from MasterChef 2, with production company Banerjee conducting a formal investigation.
Alongside the malt extract, this will add that all-important sticky texture to my loaves.
Oh, that's lovely. Can I have some of that for me ice cream?
He's denied it via some very miscalculated Instagram videos, which were hastily deleted. Number 9, Philip Schofield.
I know what I did was unwise, but is it enough to absolutely destroy someone?
A lot of people already had issues with Schofield before his fall from grace. Various former co-stars, including Fern Britton and Amanda Holden, have been rumoured to be feuding with him, while there were also long-running stories that Schofield and Holly Willoughby couldn't stand each other.
How old was he when he first said to you, I'm interested in television? Was he 18 by that point?
19 then.
In 2023, Schofield admitted to having an unwise but not illegal affair with a younger male runner on This Morning, whom he'd met when the young man was still a teenager.
I've got a bit of a shock. Right. I'm afraid you've been let go from This Morning.
He left television, returning briefly to live alone on a desert island courtesy of Channel 5, as did his former lover, who's now working in a pub, his showbiz career in tatters. Willoughby has written him off entirely.
Did you ever tell Holly Willoughby?
No, God no. That's a bigger question.
Number 8, James Corden.
You're probably wondering why I'm holding this rose.
Though he and Ruth Jones gave us Gavin and Stacey, one of Blighty's most beloved sitcoms, Corden himself left the UK for America years ago and ran his own reputation into the ground. As he began hosting The Late Late Show over in LA, the mask came off and he became notorious for rude, entitled behaviour.
No, I was saying that! I was going to be the person that said that! I'm saying that!
It's included imposing punitive conditions on the show's writing staff and yelling at service workers to the extent that he was kicked out and banned from a restaurant in New York.
I made a rude comment, and it was wrong. It was an unnecessary comment. It was ungracious to the server.
Eventually, he left The Late Late Show and America entirely, returning to the UK to spend more time with his family and make the final ever episode of Gavin and Stacey.
No, I've had enough of it. It was the same last week. I went for a Chinese with Chinese's missus. They're all dipping into mine going, oh, yours is really nice. I'm like, yes, it is. That's why I ordered it. In fact, forget it. I want no part of it. I'll order my own. I'll eat it in the car. I'm out.
Number 7. Katie Hopkins.
Do you ever regret saying it or feel you should apologise?
No, I don't regret saying anything that I've said because I'd stand by it.
It's only fitting that Katie Hopkins receives as much hatred as she puts out in the world. Over the past 2 decades, Hopkins, initially famous for a stint on The Apprentice before she quit, has become one of the world's most vitriolic public commentators, whipping up hatred for immigrants and people of colour.
So, Brooklyn or London.
Your child's called Indian?
Yes, but you know, that's because
She's become so controversial that she barely even appears in right-wing media outlets anymore, and in 2017 was sacked by LBC for advocating a, quote, final solution with regards to the Manchester Arena bombing.
I am going to answer if we let me answer, of course. And the thing I would say is, you know, there are hard things that are said. I wasn't the biggest fan of your sister.
Since her deportation from Australia, she's faded into obscurity, not to mention the fact she was successfully sued for libel and had to sell her home.
Epileptics are all weirdos. They're up there with the Asians.
Number 6. Michael Barrymore.
All 3 were released without charge. But the damage to Michael's career seemed irreversible.
There are still plenty of unanswered questions about Michael Barrymore after the events of the 31st of March 2001. The police haven't been able to answer them, despite taking him in for questioning many times.
The truth about this, Michael, isn't it, is that we may never know the truth.
Yes.
He was most recently arrested in connection with Stuart Lubbock's death in 2021 and has consistently failed to rehabilitate his public image.
Anthea?
No, you're sabotaging.
That's not the whole time.
You obviously are very, very lacking in confidence to sabotage my dinner.
When he appeared on a celebrity edition of Come Dine With Me, a whole new generation of viewers found reasons to dislike him, as he broke plates, tampered with other contestants' meals, and even nicked a coat to gift to someone else on another night of the competition.
That was the lamb. This is the Greek part. That's the Greek bit.
OK, let's smash the plates. That's good.
That's all right. But that's Greek, isn't it?
Number 5. Russell Brand.
Come on! Everyone does it. Don't be afraid of your own sexuality. Do be a bit afraid of mine, though.
Even before the 2023 scandal following the long-running investigation into his behaviour, Brand was unpopular. Plenty of people hated his comedy and his lurid sexual jokes, not to mention that for a few years in the noughties, he was utterly inescapable.
He was allowed to say the unsayable, he was allowed to do the unthinkable, and consistently got away with it.
Since the allegations, though, things have gotten very weird for Brand, with him often promoting conspiracy theories and trying to sell his remaining fans a magical amulet. This amulet can allegedly block electromagnetic radiation for the low price of $239. That's about 190 quid.
Luckily, I wear this magical amulet from Airstech that keeps me safe from all of the various signals out there.
The amulet claims to block EMF signals in a 42-foot radius, but when tested, it doesn't even block your phone signal, which it would do if it worked as described. Number 4. Jeremy Kyle.
I really did go on the Jeremy Kyle show to prove to you I never cheated on you, but it all went wrong. Love you forever, your Steve.
He finally faced the consequences of years of his confrontational conflict resolution after the death of Steve Diamond in 2019, but has shown absolutely no remorse for what happened.
It was sudden. There's lots behind what happened, which, as I said, will come out. I think initially, I think I suffered from real shock.
It came to light that Diamond wasn't the only guest on the Jeremy Kyle show who took their own life, just the most high profile, happening only a week after the recording.
Yeah, I absolutely am aware of that. That's wrong.
Why is it taking you 15 years to deal with it then?
He's so condescending. He's so disrespectful.
Kyle later staged a broadcasting comeback on Talk, recording an interview with Mike Graham in which he didn't say a word about Diamond, just that it had been hard on him when his show had been cancelled after all the hard work that had gone into it.
And suddenly you're in this place where you think, God, I was just doing my job, I was working hard, I did what everybody said.
Number 3. Hugh Edwards.
The showbiz suit and sunglasses were gone. Today, Hugh Edwards was prepared for the possibility of going to prison.
A reliable figure on the BBC for decades, Hugh Edwards found himself in the centre of a media storm in 2023 when a story appeared that a top BBC newsreader had been accused of making indecent images.
This was Edwards after he'd been caught for receiving more than 40 photos and videos.
Edwards was conspicuously absent from the news desk, and the story was ultimately confirmed by his then wife. The following year, and Edwards appeared in court on new counts of making indecent images, in different incidents to the ones reported on in 2023.
Edwards claims a neurological disorder means he has no memory of viewing the images.
It also came out that the Beeb had known about these charges since November 2023, but kept paying him, and even increased his salary until April 2024. He's since been told to pay the wages back, given a suspended prison sentence, and been put on the register.
The BBC knew Hugh Edwards had been arrested long before the public did, but kept paying him until he resigned.
Number 2. Prince Andrew.
This nickname that you have.
I'm listening. Which nickname?
He was never that beloved in the first place, but did enjoy some popularity in his younger days after coming back from the Falklands. But things only went downhill for Andrew the older he got. He was plagued with a messy divorce, a raft of diplomatic scandals as trade envoy, and of course, his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Those photographs prove that Prince Andrew was definitely consorting with a sex offender.
Since his disastrous Newsnight interview, Prince Andrew has been forced, against his will, to disappear from public life, getting lambasted every time he shows up at royal events.
Andrew stayed close to him, so close that he was invited to one of his daughter's 18th birthday parties.
He was even asked by King Charles not to attend Christmas at Sandringham in 2024 after becoming embroiled in a Chinese spy scandal. Number 1. Jimmy Savile.
But at the heart of what went on are a series of criminal allegations about the behaviour of Sir Jimmy Savile.
After systematically harming vulnerable children, primarily in hospitals, Savile went to his grave with his reputation largely untarnished. This was despite various disturbing stories and at least one arrest in which he wasn't charged, not to mention his unsettling documentary with Louis Theroux.
Jimmy, you've never been married and you don't seem to have a very high regard of women. Do you feel that women are inferior to you?
After his death, his victims finally felt brave enough to come forward, and the full extent of his hideous crimes is now known. He's not the only high-profile star to have been doing this while seemingly under the protection of top broadcasters who might have covered his tracks. Rolf Harris was also caught in the net of Operation U-Tree.
Was child protection on your radar as an issue back then?
I have to say I don't suppose it was. It's an awful thing to say, isn't it?
Let us know in the comments which celeb you hate the most.
To survive in this industry is really tough. I was very naive at the time. I was good at running one restaurant, but I wouldn't call myself a businessman.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.